The small-town garage stood at the edge of the highway, its paint faded, its sign half rusted, and the smell of oil and rubber hanging in the air. To most travelers, it was just another pit stop, the kind of place you only remembered when something went wrong. But inside that garage worked a man who carried more than grease on his hands. He carried stories, burdens, and the quiet power to mend not only cars, but lives. His name was Sam Walker. Sam wasn't famous. He wasn't rich. His clothes were permanently stained, his hands calloused, his back bent from years under hoods and engines. But he had a gift, a way of listening, of noticing what most people missed. Customers came for repairs, but often left with something unexpected, comfort, courage, or a seed of hope they didn't know they needed. One chilly autumn morning, the bell above the garage door jingled. A woman in her 30s stepped in, clutching her car keys like they were lifelines. Her name was Laura. She had driven all night, fleeing a life she didn't want to talk about. Her car had sputtered to a stop just outside of town, forcing her to seek help. Sam looked up from under a hood, wiping his hands on a rag. "Trouble?" Laura nodded, her eyes downcast. "It just died." "Cars don't die," Sam said gently. "They just need someone to listen." She blinked, confused, but followed him outside. He slid under the car, fiddled, tightened, tested. Within minutes, the engine coughed back to life. "There you go," he said. Laura stared, stunned. "That's it? That fast?" Sam shrugged. "Engines are like people. Sometimes they just need a little attention. Neglect builds up, but give them care and they'll surprise you." Something in his words pierced deeper than the car. She swallowed hard, tears pricking her eyes. Sam pretended not to notice, only added, "Coffee's fresh in the office if you need a minute before you go." Laura sat inside, sipping from a chipped mug, staring at the grease-stained posters on the wall. Somehow she felt lighter, as if the mechanic had tuned something in her chest, not just her car. She left quietly, but she carried his words with her. Sam's garage became a place like that for many. There was John, a trucker on the verge of losing his job after failing multiple deliveries because of his rig breaking down. Sam fixed the truck, yes, but he also talked to John about pacing himself, about not letting exhaustion cost him his family. "Engines can be rebuilt," he told him. "Families can't." John drove away, not just with new spark plugs, but with a new determination to call his wife that night and apologize. There was Maya, a teenager who stormed in with a dented car and a heart heavier than the damage. Her parents had given her the car as a bribe to hide their divorce, and she hated it. Sam listened while he hammered out the dent. Then he said, "Metal bends. It looks ruined, but it can always be shaped again. So can you?" Maya left, not smiling, but with a little less anger burning her throat. And there was Eli, a widower who brought his old pickup not because it needed work, but because he couldn't stand the silence of his empty house. Sam changed the oil, checked the tires, then sat with him for an hour, talking about baseball, grief, and the ache of mornings without someone to say good morning to. When Eli left, he shook Sam's hand like it was the only thing keeping him steady. One winter night, just before closing, headlights flickered outside. A sleek car rolled in, too expensive for this dusty town. Out stepped a man in a tailored coat, his face tight with frustration. "Battery's dead," he muttered. "I've got a meeting across the state. I can't afford delays." Sam nodded. "Pop the hood." As he worked, the man paced, muttering about deals, deadlines, money slipping through his fingers. Sam listened, silent, then finally said, "You ever notice how an engine won't start if it's drained? Doesn't matter how fancy the car is, it won't move unless it rests and recharges." The man frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" Sam looked him in the eye. "You keep running like you're running now, you'll drain yourself too. And unlike a battery, it takes a lot longer for a man to recharge. The words hit harder than the cold air. The man said nothing, but when Sam handed him the keys, his shoulders slumped in something close to gratitude. Sam never kept a ledger of the lives he touched. To him, it was just part of the job. He fixed what was broken, whether it was made of steel or flesh. He listened, he spoke when words mattered, and he let silence heal where it needed to. Years rolled by. Customers came and went, but the stories lingered. People began saying, "If your car's broken, go to Sam. And if your heart's broken, go to him too." One spring day, Laura returned, the same woman whose car had died years ago. But this time she wasn't clutching her keys in fear. She drove in with steady hands, her eyes clear, her daughter in the passenger seat. "Do you remember me?" she asked. Sam smiled. "Engines don't forget." She laughed softly, then grew serious. "Back then, I was running away from something terrible. You fixed my car, but you also fixed something in me. Your words stayed. I found the courage to start over. I went back to school. I built a life, and now," she gestured to her daughter, "now I'm raising her in a safer place. Because of you." Sam's throat tightened. He glanced at the little girl, who was drawing on a notepad with crayons, carefree and safe. He nodded, unable to find words. That night, after closing, Sam sat alone in the garage. The radio hummed softly, the smell of oil and coffee lingering in the air. He thought of all the people who had walked through his doors, broken engines, broken spirits. He thought of Laura, of her daughter's smile. And he realized he had never been just a mechanic. He had been a rest stop for weary souls, a reminder that even in a small, forgotten town, kindness could fix things that wrenches never could. Sometimes, what people bring to us isn't what really needs fixing. An engine may sputter, a tire may burst, but beneath the surface, there are hearts in need of tuning, souls in need of rest. Sam Walker taught us that healing often hides in the smallest interactions, a word, a smile, a reminder that we're not alone. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that kindness can be the most powerful tool, don't let it stop here. Follow our channel for more emotional, powerful stories that inspire hope, resilience, and compassion. Because sometimes, fixing an engine is only the beginning of fixing a life.